because he was acting a lot of pain.
Okay, so at the end of last week, you managed to fall tumbling out of the Durst family mansion on the outskirts of Barovia, followed by Lancelot, the little puppy dog that the druid hates, that Zephyr has sort of picked up as he left the building and is tailing along after you, sort of trotting along.
We inherited the dog.
You've inherited the dog. Well, Mr. Zephyr sir decided to get the dog as you left the building, so the dog's with you at the minute. And
I think it's like a puppy, isn't it?
it's an old dog. It's an oldish dog. So as you're standing and regrouping, you're sort of heading down the road. There's only one direction, which is the direction into Barovia village, which you can see as you crest over the hill. You can see down into this sort of these buildings in the distance at the bottom of this hill. And as you come out of the house, the house that had stood looking really quite well kept, sort of ages as you leave it. So as you walk away from the house, the grass in the front yard seems to be growing rapidly up. And less kempt, and the brickwork starts to crumble and age as you walk away from the house. And a while.
Are you spoiled on that one, or is that
you could probably work it out from the information that you've got. So you've got a collection of books and letters and bits and pieces.
Bone? It's been a while.
Well, we've got that letter that we found on Mr. Durst that would be dated presumably the year he died. So if we can find out the current year in whatever weird time system that is, we need to know how old it is.
Yeah.
No, that's the we don't know what the year we got was like nonsense.
Yeah. So a number of 100 years. Okay. So as you're walking down, feeling slightly better equipped, slightly better equipped, variously damaged. It's clearly quite a lot later, so time's very difficult. There's no obvious sun, but it's definitely darker. It's not so dark. Time has passed. It is definitely, you would say, evening, although it's either twilight or dark. There's no sun in Barovia, so there's still this rolling mist and it's pouring with rain. As you walk down towards this village, and you can see some lights in the village in the distance, and you're walking along the path followed by this little dog. There's this sudden crack of thunder, and a figure appears in front of you.
You look friendly.
And he just stands in front of you and welcome.
They sound like the voice in my head from a crystal ball.
Yes.
Vash. Is Vash in the back?
Vash, wherever. You can put yourself wherever you want to be.
Vash would actually be standing behind everybody
Okay.
to try and not necessarily hide from Strahd, but not be noticed
Okay.
immediately.
Are you staying where you are on the map there, or do you want to move?
No. I'd just be clumped up amongst everyone, trying to just be in the middle of everything, so he doesn't notice.
I'll take a couple of steps forward and pull out the crystal ball. So I think you dropped this back in the Durst house.
I did not drop it, but if you wish to give it back, I would be more than happy to accept. He takes it back.
Strange.
I've got no idea who this is, so I'm just
Yeah,
going to
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk forward with attitude, my hands on my hips.
Vash
and
would
go,
definitely know who this is.
Actually, who are you, mister?
Vash does.
Would I know Ella?
You would know immediately that this is not somebody aligned with the Church of Light.
Yeah. The only person that knows exactly who this is Vash.
You could roll straight intelligence if you want to see if you can deduce who it's likely to be. Given that this is a tall figure, 6'3", wearing a long black cloak, looking remarkably similar to the statue in the scary room where most of you were asleep for large periods of time.
They look
Yeah,
funny.
I can see that.
So I got a 6.
Okay, you haven't made the link between the statue that looked scary in the room with the whispers and you were asleep, I think, for a large proportion of that.
Yeah, I was asleep for all of
I'll
it.
try and help things. You'll have to excuse us. The 5 of us are rather hopelessly lost in these parts. Perhaps you could direct us to a nearby town or a settlement of some kind.
Sophie raises an eyebrow and goes, at the houses, sort of a couple of 100 metres to your left down the hill, and goes, that would be the town, the village of Barovia, just down there. You're clearly very new, Quinny, to these parts. And he looks over and goes, and you, I'd expect more than hiding at the back. Are you not a son of Barovia?
Unfortunately, yes, I am.
And then he looks over and goes, well, I suppose I should thank you all for ridding this country of that vile stain of the Durst. They seem to think that their vile practices would gain attention and support. They were nothing but scum and a stain on the landscape. I am grateful for your assistance in the matter. My name is Strad von Zarevich. I am the current lord of this land. And I would like to invite you to dinner at your convenience. And he bows deeply, and a letter with a red seal sort of flies across and lands in front of you. Okay. But right now, I have some business to be discussing with Mr. Orion, sir. And
He doesn't talk.
and Zephyr looks up and as he does so, there's this sudden change, and Strad turns into a bat and flies over and just picks Zephyr up, and you can see him struggling, and you can see him doing ridiculously dexterous maneuvers as he is just carried off into the distance. Yeah, he's just swooped in behind, picked him up, and he's carrying him off into the distance as he fights.
You leave Mr. Zephyr alone, mister.
And he goes, and you can hear booming through, almost through the air, "Don't worry. My children will look after you for a while." Roll for initiative.
16.
Okay, 16. Chris?
23.
Oh, Mr. Zephyr, sir. You're after Mr. Zephyr.
Hey.
23. Quinny?
19.
19.
Positive.
Vash?
17.
And Malachi?
21.
21. Okay.
Second one.
Second one.
Okay, so as you stand there watching Mr. Zephyr, sir, disappearing off into the distance, carried over the top of the village, carried by this giant bat, and he's not making any sound, but you can sort of see him desperately trying to kick with his feet in an entirely sort of seemingly futile manner. You start to hear howling, and
How big is this bat?
he's turned into a huge bat, biggest bat you've ever seen.
Man bat from Batman.
Definitely not a sort of run-of-the-mill natural-sized bat.
The only one that isn't shocked by this is Bash.
Okay.
Yeah, because Bash is going. The person playing that game must be on holidays this week.
Oh no,
He
yeah.
contemplates doing something to entertain an animal, and the metagame goes, nah, Zephyr will be fine.
You could try.
Well, that seems like a real nice.
I don't have any range.
You can try if you want to go after the bat. The bat is pretty much nearly out of range unless you've got anything over 130, 140 feet. Okay, so as you stand there, you can hear howling, and you can hear howling coming from both sides of the path, and approaching you appear to be. Certainly, you can see on the. You can hear wolves from all around, but you can now see 3 on the right-hand side of the path as you're looking down into the village in the distance down here. Etherdwy, you're up first.
What is that?
So there's a wolf up the top, up there, and there's another one you can see up here.
Just a quick mechanics question.
Yes.
Would we be in dim light at the start?
It's probably not dark enough to be considered dim light. There's a campfire, and you can just see the torches on the edge of town, so you've probably got more vision than that.
I've got druid path, I can take out the plants if you like.
That's just shadow blanket's advantage from the dim light.
Well, how far away is that one? Which one?
So the one that's closest that you can see 2. So you can see the one you can see this one, and then another one over here from where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is, let's have a look. Probably 45 feet.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go.
Exactly 45 feet.
I'm going to go to that tree over here
Yeah.
and stealth up behind the tree.
So you're going to hide.
Yes.
Action to hide. Okay, fine.
Bonus action.
So
Cunning action you can do as bonus action. So you can read it.
Full action if he wants to.
That's cunning action.
you can hide as a bonus action because you are
As
a rogue. So you can do it, and you don't need to take full action to hide. You can take a cunning action, so you can still take an action if you want to.
And if I attack, will that necessarily break my stealth?
If you do the attack first and then self move.
Oh,
But you won't get sneak attack if you
Yeah, that's it.
but I don't think I could do sneak attack anyway because there's no one within range.
Yeah.
So sneak attack.
So sneak attack works in 2 scenarios.
Doesn't know where you are, or if you have advantage on the roll for any reason.
Which I don't have in this case.
No, but if you hide first, the creature won't know where you are. So
And
you'll be sneaking.
And if they don't know where you are, I think it's advantage as well, isn't it? If you're
Not
hidden?
necessarily.
Not necessarily. No.
Well, for this one, I'm gonna shoot my short bow then.
So you're going to hide,
No, shoot then hide.
shoot, then
I'm
hide.
gonna save my sneak attack.
Okay, which one are you shooting at?
This one up here.
This one.
Yeah.
So you go step out, shoot, and then hide as a bonus
I'm
action.
gonna
Yeah.
shoot then hide.
Okay, fine. Roll to attack.
Basically just generates.
I'm gonna shoot and miss.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
What
No.
was a
Yeah,
kind
it's a 10. So,
You miss.
yeah, I think it's.
Alright,
I'm gonna go hide. Over there somewhere. Hide in the shadows.
So into the shadows.
Over here, in this tree shadow.
Okay, fine. So we'll go over there.
Yep, I'm gonna go over there.
Okay. In the shadows. Hiding.
That's me.
Okay, Malachi, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna cast guiding. We can use our new spells, right? Or new spell slots.
So yes. So you just carry your damage. So
Yeah,
yes, you can use your new spell slot.
So I'm going to use a guiding bolt at second level on the guy up top,
This one at the very top.
the one closest.
Oh, the one closest.
to us.
Yes. Okay. Guiding bolt.
So I'm going to roll the hit,
Mm-hmm.
and I get.
And so your bolt of energy goes searing through the forest and just skims straight over the top of this wolf's back. And in its light, you can see its bristling fur and its fangs that snarls and puts its head back and howls, but you miss. Okay.
Roll natural 20.
Quinny, you're
Oh,
up.
flash over. I'm going to say to these wolves, particularly the two due north of us,
Yep.
hi friends, you look hungry? I'm going to then look over at them, reach out a hand and say, maybe don't attack us. I'm going to cast second level animal friendship.
Onto these two.
The two to the north of us, can they
Yes.
give me a wisdom saving, please?
Yep. They can. So.
DC 15.
And the first one rolls a 19. So the closest one saves, and its friend to the north doesn't understand why it's still howling at you, and just sort of sits down and cocks its head on one side.
Can I, as a bonus action,
Yeah.
pick up a stick on the ground next to
Mm-hmm.
me and say, look, go get it, and throw it with the hope that it runs after the stick because it's charmed, rather than, hangs around and possibly gets it?
You can. Where are you aiming the stick?
I'll aim the stick northeast away from us, so back the way we came.
Back the way you came?
And a little bit towards.
Okay. Give me a just a straight dexterity check, just to make sure you don't accidentally
God's sake.
drop the stick.
That's a critical fail for a total of 4.
So you get the stick, and you do the thing where you go to throw the stick, and the wolf goes like puppy dogs when they're like looking for the stick, and the stick sort of falls to the ground next to you, but it has absolutely no idea. It just sits there waiting, and it doesn't run away, but it equally doesn't. It doesn't do anything else. It just sits there and looks slightly sad that you're teasing it. So it's just sitting there looking.
I'm all out of ideas.
Okay.
I don't know first, but I was just going to try.
Okay.
Oh, John Howard,
Yeah,
right.
went through it. And
Do you want to move, or are you happy where you are?
Quickly, you can put it halfway down the picture.
There's none to the south of us, is there?
You can hear howling down there. You can't see anything to the south of you now.
Alright, cool. It looks like we're kind of surrounded. I'll try and get in the middle of the, slightly more beefy fighters, if they'll let me. But otherwise, no, I'm pretty happy where I am.
Okie dokie. Vash, you're up.
I am up.
Yes.
So, as I'm standing there, I'm assessing. How far is the closest wolf to me?
The closest one to you is up here, so that's just under 30 feet. I'll be.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So Vash will assess the situation, look at it.
25
and
feet.
The shadows from around his feet
Yep.
will travel up his body
Mm-hmm.
and down his right arm
Mm-hmm.
and form a blade
Okay.
out of his hand, and I cast, as a bonus action, Shadow Blade.
Okay.
So I will run up to the first wolf
Okay.
and take a swing with my Shadow Blade. That's a 20-40 hit.
Hits.
That is 10 psychic damage.
Okay. So you slam into this wolf, who's sitting next to his friend, who appears to be sitting on the ground, looking longingly at a stick over yonder, and swing into it. It's just so taken with why is my friend no longer fighting that it doesn't react at all, and it is bloodied and barely standing. It's just swinging around. Sort of staggering backwards and forwards. It's not down, but it is very, very close. Do you want to move? You've used 20 feet of movement to get
No.
up there. You happy? Anything else? Okay.
Okay.
Harleen, you're up.
But they don't take a lot, don't they?
Harleen, you're up.
There is. It's called the wolves, is it?
We know there's more.
So you know there's more to the south somewhere, but you can't. Those are the only ones you can see at the moment.
How far away is that one in the top right corner?
From you, the top right corner is 35 feet.
I'd like to get within 10 feet of it,
Okie dokie.
and then I'm going to whip it. And try and
So you're whipping the one that's currently sitting there going.
Maybe don't attack it. That one's charmed.
Oh,
So sorry, just so we're clear, yeah. So this
Take
one,
the one, the other one that's close.
yeah. So this one up here
The one that's
is.
being a good boy.
I'm so glad I spent that second level spell slot.
How long is that one
Sorry,
chance for? Like a minute?
Yes, I'll go for the one.
24 hours.
Oh, wow.
That's just base attack.
I'm going to. I will.
Yeah, charmed for 24 hours.
There you go. I'll put it. It says cursed, but it's charmed.
So that's a 14.
14 hits.
Oh, sorry, 15.
15 hits. So you're hitting the one that Vasha's hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I've got
Um,
one attack that's fixing it, so.
That's 4 damage.
You absolutely, you lash out with your whip and absolutely batter it into oblivion. Your whip curls around its throat and almost decapitates it. It's a pretty impressive feat. So that one is down. Okay. Would you like to move again? Are you happy where you are?
I'll move back.
Okay.
Catwoman is just a taxi.
Okay, so now it is their turn. So they, the one who is your friend, the one who's friendly is going to come over, not in a hostile way. It's not come over in a hostile way. It's come over to try and get that stick that you promised to throw for it.
Yes.
So this one's now just sitting there patiently waiting for a stick.
Comes over here, but I did something.
So it's sitting there waiting. This guy from the north is going to come in, and it can't quite get in. And then
One of the companions up.
These companions are good.
and those other ones move in from the south.
Oh, there's 3 of them now.
There are 3 of them down there. Okay, so that's their turn. Back to the top of the order. So Etherdwe, it is your turn,
Yeah.
and then Malachi on deck.
If I was to, so first off, how far
Yeah,
is this one in here?
this one.
From one of our friends, like one of our.
Okay, not 5 feet, but you're hidden from it.
Okay.
So if you attack from there, you would get sneak attack if you hit it, because it doesn't. Yeah,
Would it get surprise?
it wouldn't get surprise. I don't think
Is it a random condition? So that's like if you jump and suddenly
before initiative. So it knows it's in combat.
Specifics of it.
Yeah. So no, it's fine. So it knows you're in combat, so it can't be surprised. It's on alert. It's fighting, but you can definitely get sneak attack because you're hidden.
Alright.
So it doesn't know you're there. It's much more interested in Quinny and Malachi with his flashing lights.
So, no run in,
Yep.
sneak attack the wolf with my dagger,
Yes.
and then run behind the next one in the shadow, like hide again. In behind
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like, bigger, like,
Yeah. So you want to run in, attack.
and then
So you want to run in, attack, and run out. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Roll to hit.
It's a really good tactic. As a rogue, hit and run.
has it taken a turn into combat yet?
It has.
Alright.
Is it taking a turn or taking an action?
Taking a turn.
It has taken a turn. It's moved.
Your assassin.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's
You'll need a
moved.
surprise rank in the
Yeah.
We kind of got surprised.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, sure, you could get it.
He can fish off that just before the chunk goes.
That's just 23.
That hits.
And
You're up to 2d6 now? The sneak attack?
Yeah.
Level 3, I'm pretty sure.
It's in the road table.
sorry guys, not taking it.
No, it's fine.
No, you're
You're
fine.
learning a new class.
And we just
And you're learning from a book.
I guess it is 2d6.
There you go.
Learning from a book is always hard.
Well,
So you go it.
That's Manuel from 47.
Oh, yes.
I learned it from you. My favourite line of that whole show. Oh, what is it now? Can't you leave me in peace?
Hello, Major, how are you today?
Extraordinary animal.
Oh, love sneak attack.
That was a
Ooh, that's juicy. Plus your dex mod.
15.
Okay, so
Are you rolling damage?
Yes.
That should be 2d6.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, 2d6 plus 1d4.
Sorry, I picked 2d4s rather than. I thought you guys rolled it.
No, that's still good. That's good.
That's an 18, sorry.
that's absolutely fine. So, and are you running? Are you moving out again?
You mean a d20 gets more than a d4?
Yeah.
Okay. So Effie, this tiny little 10-year-old with his nasty little knives, comes lugging out from behind a tree, goes, cuts both carotids. And this leaves this wolf exsanguinating, dead on the ground. Are you moving out, or are you?
Those do a lot of damage.
Do you want to move, or do you want to stay where you are?
No, I'm going to go hide behind the
Okay, that's fine.
That one up there is dead, and the other one's on our side, so you might be better off going to the side.
Oh, you reckon I might be better off?
Going. Or going- So if you're there, you're hidden from the ones to the south.
Oh, what, sorry?
If you're there, you're hidden from the ones to the south.
Yeah, are they still in range for attack next time?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, no, could you move to them and attack, do the same again? Yeah,
Alright.
absolutely. Okay, Malachi, you're up. So that's 2 down.
Just so you know.
So, these three, the ones from the south.
The ones are the ones that there appears to be one that's currently sitting next to you, looking longingly at a stick, and 3 to the south that are growling and howling and moving in.
No need to kill.
How far are they?
They're in range. They're 35 feet.
Okay. I'm going to go for level 2 weapons.
Oh,
Probably slightly less than that from you. It's probably 15 feet. The closest one.
I'm gonna run a bit like within 30 feet. So
You're within range.
okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna do burning hands. So he'll roll on the one closest to us.
Okay.
So he'll roll for a save.
Deck save.
Yeah, deck save.
I'm doing like a level 7 fireball every hit. It grows and paladins.
He absolutely tanks his save. So he rolls an 8. So this wolf is like, and just his feet are like stuck on the sliding cobbles, and you know they're much more comfortable further out in the woods. He rolled an 8.
Send your sacred fire through my hands.
Okay, roll for damage.
Flame fire straight
Yeah,
out.
like so.
And so I do 13 damage.
Okay, so as you burning hands out towards this one, his fur catches fire from his muzzle all the way back, and his head's engulfed in flames, and then down his back. And as you watch, all the flesh peels off its face, and he falls down with a sort of skeletal head, and the body of this wolf still flaming behind him. Do you want to move again, or are you
Yeah.
move or stay, or?
So we've got some cooked wolf.
Yeah, you've got a cooked wolf, a friendly wolf, and 2 who are pissed off and hostile. Okay, that's fine. Quinny, you're up.
Do these wolves have any metal collars on them?
No.
That's a joke. Are they within 15 feet?
Lancelot's got a metal collar, but not even.
I'll
He's
say
going for
that
the
for
stick.
I knew what you were thinking.
Are those two within 15 feet of each other?
Yes, they are.
Hell yeah! Cast and Thunderwave.
Ooh!
I will. Can they make me a Constitution save, please?
Oh, I love a Constitution save. That's what we like.
I will stand up there and just like headbutt into the ground and send out a shockwave.
The first one, so the one that's nearest the dead one, is still sort of sniffing at the air of the burning friend and fails miserably. Rolls a 4. And his friend a little further away rolls an 18.
So that one saves. The one that failed takes 9 damage.
Okay.
And the one that passed takes half of that.
So 4.
They are also the one that failed is also launched 10 feet away.
Okay.
Boom! And there is an enormous bang.
Okay.
It's first level that I cast it to seconds.
Okay. So we've got burning. So Vash, you're up. Do you want to move? Quinny, do you want to move?
No, I'm happy.
How far away is the nearest alive wolf?
From you, the nearest alive wolf is 50 feet.
50.
50, and the other one is 70.
I'll move 35 feet directly to it,
Okay.
and I'm going to throw my Shadow Blade because there's a 20-foot thrown distance.
Okay.
And Shadow Blade, I just go. Yeah. That's a 20 to hit.
Hits.
That's 9 psychic damage.
And so while this one is staggering around after that thunder wave, it can't quite get its feet. It gets whoa, and it just keels over and goes down. So that one is down
And as
out.
A bonus action.
Yeah.
I will. The Shadow Blade will disappear from the wolf and reappear in my hand.
Okay. Are you staying where you are?
Yes. I
Okay.
can't move any further. I'm using my movement.
Okay. Harleen, you're up. There's one left and one friendly.
I will move to the one that was not friendly.
Okay.
As close to it as I can.
Okay.
30 feet.
Yep.
So how far away is that?
That makes you, I think, 15 feet away.
Cool. I'm gonna throw my hand axe at it.
Okay.
That's psychic damage too. I'm very resistant. Come on,
That's a 13.
That hits. Mmm. It's a poor baby wolf.
What's a baby?
Yeah. Sorry.
That is 7 damage.
And that is exactly what you needed. So with that one, the last hostile wolf has an axe embedded as it staggers backwards from its being blasted away. Harleen runs in and throws an axe and buries it straight in its forehead. So the only wolf now is sitting next to you. Does it get another save?
It does not. It's animal friendship, so it's one save.
It's one
with a
and
chance
it's out.
of 24. So it gets another save if my companions harm it, but otherwise,
Yep, nobody has harmed it.
it's just 24 hours charmed.
Okay, so you have a charmed pet wolf for the next 23 hours and
change.
58 minutes. It's good, yeah. Mr. Orion Zephyr, sir, has vanished completely, and there is blood scattered all around. What would you like to do with your one remaining wolf? You're out of... And unless you're going to attack the one remaining wolf, you are out of combat.
I'm not going to attack it. Yes. How do you feel about humanely putting down a wild nature creature?
Say so.
Wonderful. Just give it a good stab in the back of the head.
I need to roll for that, or is that just?
If I go down and hunt
It's entirely possible that Etherdwe might bulk at the last minute and slip and stab himself in the foot. Yes, you need to roll.
hold its head.
You can roll with advantage.
Vash will stand be standing there as well, just in case.
You can roll with advantage.
And then because this is a surprise, you get a crit.
Yes,
Would it be surprise?
it is surprised because it thinks you're its friend.
That's why I'm getting you.
It's so dark.
It's okay. It's okay. Kill it.
Oh God, you are just so fucking.
I don't like
Assassinate.
Which means any hit you score is a crit.
Yes. So
You
just
still got to hit him first.
you do have to hit it.
It's not roll.
Oh,
what was that to hit.
You still have to roll to hit, otherwise assassinate 13.
Hits.
alright,
There you
well,
go. Assassinate.
I've got my hands on this thing's
Double
mouth.
it. Whatever you roll, double it.
when you roll a 6, but you get plus 4. You double everything?
Yes.
Double everything.
This wolf's getting
You-
10-year-old kid just decapitates a wolf.
36.
Jesus Christ.
So Etherdwe goes.
That's
Etherdwe. Etherdwe, with this wolf's 11 hit points, just and friendly, sitting there looking beseechingly at the druid and his stick, describe how you take down, how this 10-year-old takes down this wolf.
I'm just. I don't know. I guess maybe I've just hit it in that particular. I don't know. This isn't. I shouldn't be
Move,
saying
move.
this to a doctor, but you know.
No, you go. I don't do wolves.
Hitting
It's
it
fine.
in an artery that just
Yeah.
instant kill, like just like when you're just dissecting it and you just go right in the spot and it's just like dead.
Okay.
Precision shot.
So you kind of look this wolf in the eyes as it's looking beseechingly at the stick and looking up at Quinny, and you just lean forward and you kind of size it up, having already nearly beheaded its friend. So you've kind of got the hang of where the vital parts of a wolf are, and you go in and you just lean forward with your knife and just go straight through one carotid, through its windpipe, out the carotid on the other side, and the wolf just goes down dead. You pull that dagger out and wipe it on your trousers, and
I'd then like to look over to Lancelot and just go,
Lancelot's the pet puppy dog that you bring.
Just saw us.
it could be a spy for all we know.
We're playing merit-based experience.
Be a good dog now.
Okay.
So given thieves don't get like
So as the
level up quicker than anyone else. Oh, just a level 10.
so this remaining baby wolf bites the biscuit, and the now 5 of you and Lancelot the puppy dog, I assume, head further down towards
I've
Barovia.
got one spell slot, no wild shapes, and most of my hit points. I love
So
it.
which way are we going?
So-
You know, there's a tower there. Oh, there we go.
There you go. So
Are we in the town?
yeah, so you as you come down from the wolves, you reach the edge of this sort of slightly depressing, primarily because it's all grey and dark, and it's now definitely past dusk. The night is falling, and there are deep shadows everywhere. There's thick mud on the cobbles, and there's 1 or 2 lights on in the windows as you approach the town, but it's largely deserted. So as you approach the village, you can see some houses. There's 1 or 2 torches lighting up the street. And it's in the shadow of you can see on a hill in the far distance. You can see what appears to be the tall spire of a castle, and that's the direction that the bat carried Mr. Zephyr, sir, as it flew away.
I say we find a corner pub, a tavern of some sort, get a drink, and then settle down for the night and work out what we're going to do about that door.
Do you mind if as we head there, I kind of scout ahead of the party?
That's one.
With no misses that go around the train there, I've got maybe just to stop us getting ambushed like we just were. Might just, and I feel it might feel like maybe that's a few information to do.
Okay. So, as you enter the village proper, so this is the village of Barovia. So this is the first sort of town that you've come to since you've been here. It is Nana H. I knew I'd seen that picture before. Damn it! Yeah, it is. It's Nana H. That's an accident because I'm just like I need that.
Twin sister.
It's their twin sister, and it's
Nana
very
Jean.
anyway. So Nana Jean. So she may just be about to get renamed. So as you're going down, you're sort of scouting ahead, Etherdwyn, you can sort of see that these houses down here that are dark. There's no lights at all. As you come past this building here, you can see what looks like a shop, and there's a sort of red-haired gentleman wandering around behind a counter, and you can see that there's some shelves and so this appears to be some kind of a general store, and there's a lady up ahead that you can see talking to a chap, and are you staying in the shadows and advancing up there? Okay, so as you approach, she appears to be sort of handing over something, selling something out of this cart, and you can smell the most amazing aroma of food, and you suddenly realise that you don't actually remember eating anything since you left the Faded Cherry, seemingly hours and hours and hours and hours and hours ago. You don't remember the last time you had anything to eat. You remember making a gin for Gledwyn, but you don't actually remember eating anything. And as you approach, you hear this lady going, "Oh, there you go, Vasily. You take that pie there and you go home and have yourself a nice evening with your loved one. And you ask her that question and you come back and tell me next time I see you that you're getting wed." And he's like, "Thank you, Auntie Morgan," and he's legging it off, and he's got what appears to be a paper bag with some kind of food in it, and he disappears off over here, and she sort of leans over this cart and starts to pack things in the cart, and she starts to sort of wheel her cart off. That's as you approach, sort of in the shadows, this appears to be a sort of town square. A sort of big open area here, and she sort of has this cart full of produce.
Is it like produce or pies or what is it?
It smells amazing. It's certainly cooked, and you can smell what you would probably think of to be sort of meat pies or pasties or something. But there's loads of just fabulous aromas coming out of this pie.
I'm gonna go up and pull out and
I think you've got more money than everybody else put together.
Jesus.
I'm gonna pull out one copper piece.
That's because he went gambling and robbed half the town before he got here.
I'm gonna just pull out one copper piece and make myself a little hangdog expression and go up and like, "Please, miss, please." My one piece.
And she looks at you and she goes, "Oh, who are you? I had not seen you round these parts before. Are you new in town, little lad? Are you hungry? You want a pie? Oh, I'm Auntie Morgan. What's your name? Can you talk, lad? Can you talk?"
So hungry. My
You
name's
never gave me a name at the orphanage.
Dwee.
Dwee? Dwee, oh, that's a lovely name. That's a lovely name. What are you doing out at so late on your own around this part? Oh, where are your friends? And she turns around and she goes, them skulking down there, down that alley? Are them's your friends? Are them's your friends?
Bastion is stopping, he's walking confidently toward them.
Oh, okay. And she goes, hello, is this your friend Dwee?
He's travelling with us, yes.
Have you fed him? He's a growing lad.
We haven't actually been able to find any food. This is the first time we've come.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're new here, aren't you?
Well, yes and no.
Okay. And she just goes,
My family's from here, we moved away sometime.
Oh, you got out. Wise, there's a lot want to do that. Well, I'm Auntie Morgan and I run Dream Pastries. You can see it's written on my card, Dream Pastries. It's a pie business. I sell my pies all over Barovia, mainly between here and Vlaki. That's the town up to the north. I just wander around. Me and my daughters make these pies. Can I interest you in a pie?
I would love one.
Okay. That'll be 1 gold piece.
Is that a lot? for a
I'm
pot?
inside
Yeah.
because that seems a little steep. 21.
Okay.
Natural 20.
It's 1 gold piece for a pie.
It is 1 gold piece for a pot.
Can I provide the help action?
Well, on the inside. Yeah.
That's as good as I'm going to roll.
Oh, okay.
I rolled a natural 20.
Natural
In
20.
that case, can you give me help on the action? Because I just rolled an 11.
Okay, so what you get for a natural 20? So you want to know, don't you? I can see it in your face why my pies are 1 gold piece.
They do seem rather expensive.
Well, you've obviously not been here for very long. There ain't not much competition in Barovia for good quality food. And therefore, I can really charge what I like. And I put a lot of effort into my pies because they bring a bit of joy and a bit of colour into the life of these people living in this grey, muddy land.
Well, I'm going to ask you a very, I'm sure you'll find it quick question. What meat do you use in that's what I want.
I have
Well,
a friend named Sweet.
Yeah, that's what I was having fun. No, that's not what Back is actually getting at.
yeah. Well, there's different pies. They're not all meat pies. Are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm quite fond of meat.
Oh,
It's more of a question of, do you do any pies that aren't well done?
oh.
But the meat is somewhat on the rarer side.
Oh, we can do. I can do them as a commission. I mean, my favourite kind of a pie is chicken, but it's difficult to get that around here. We get quite a lot of wolf, which is rare in most places, but since Strahd has been in these parts for a couple of 100 years, there appear to be a lot of them around. So we've got some wolf, we've got some boar. That's probably your rarest meat in terms of well cooked is the boar pie, quite nice. There's a vegetarian one. It's turnip and potato. That
What do you
pie.
charge for that?
That's also a gold piece.
Gold piece.
A gold piece.
Depends.
For turnips, you don't get many green plants here because they don't do well without the sunshine. So mainly it's things that grow under the earth and animals. Yeah.
I will definitely have one of those boar pies.
Okay, I mean, if you look at the size of this here pie, it's like a family-sized pie for a gold piece. So you could get like 6 or 8 servings out of one of these pies. 6 or 8 servings, unless you're very hungry, in which case you might get less. There's a sweet pie as well if you want a dessert.
Is there any...
While the discussion's still going
Uh-huh.
on, I've got the boar pie and I'm dividing it up so everyone can have it.
Okay.
Is there a tavern or inn?
Oh, there is. There's one. This is a pretty small village. It's Blood on Vine Tavern. It's just Blood on Vine. Used to be Blood off the Vine, but that didn't make much sense. Somebody changed the sign. It's just up there to the north, just on the corner there. You'll see it. Anything else you need to know?
Bash is going to take a bite out of the boar pie.
It is the most amazing food that you've tasted. It's absolutely
Seriously,
gorgeous.
It's fantastic.
Mind if I do? Thank you very much.
I'm handing you everything.
okay.
Herbivore and half goat.
Roll 1d.
I'll nibble it.
Roll 1d4.
Actually, I'm gonna
Roll 1d4. Everybody who's had a serving, roll 1d4.
I'm not upset.
No, sorry.
Smart.
Can I?
4. 4 temporary hit points.
Can I? While they're
Maybe
all-
not.
2 temporary so rolled a 4. It's Vash's pie. So that's 4 for anybody who's had a slice of pie. That's 4 temporary hit points for the next 24 hours.
While they're talking to
Yeah.
Auntie, whatever, and
Yeah.
Morgan,
Yeah.
can I like sneak around the back of the cart and maybe just slide a hand, try and nick a little pie off the back of them?
Yeah.
By your facial expressions, I don't think this is a wise idea. But
Come on, you've got to commit to the bit.
Commit to the bit. Yeah. Let's see.
In Vash's defense, he did offer you a piece of the 4 pie.
So as Auntie Morgan is apparently watching everybody devouring this boar pie and looking really quite pleased with herself because these are my wares. Travel by word of mouth. She heads whips around. She looks at you and she goes, "Wait. Either you share the pie, you buy a pie, or you ask her nicely. You don't steal from Auntie Morgan.
So good.
We have been in this business a long
And
time."
Vash will actually hand a piece of the 4 pie directly.
thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
So how much do you say you get?
1d4 temporary hit points next 24 hours. So there's an assortment of these meat pastries, but there's like it's kind of nut and berry. That's the sweet one. It's got some honey in it. It's quite nice if you need a dessert. Because you're new in town, I'll give you another meat pie of your choosing, and a sweet pie for 1 gold, if you want them.
Pretty nice.
Mrs. Lady, you said you like to use
Auntie Morgan. Yeah.
you like to use wolf meat.
Well, not particularly, as I said, my little one. If you'd been listening with them little ears rather than trying to steal with them little fingers, I prefer chicken. But there are lots of wolves.
I'll buy a meat pie on principle. Give her a gold piece.
Thank you very kindly.
Sweet pie.
Okay.
Sweet pie.
So she hands over 2 bags with some more pies. Okay.
And that too, whoever's standing nearest.
So you've clearly not been in these parts. You're looking for somewhere. So Blood on Vine Tavern, that'll be open. And you'll be able to get a drink there. It'll be nice and warm. Eric's usually got a fire running. It's quite nice. I tell you something though, don't you go to Bill Drath's Mercantile. And she points to the shop on the corner. She's like, don't you go there.
Why is that?
Because he's a cheat. He's a cheat. As I said, there's not much competition in Barovia and he's the only shop in town. He'll fleece you. He'll charge you at least 10 times anything that's worth. Don't you do that. If you need to go shopping, I'd go up to Valaki. A bit bigger city up there, more choice.
Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
Maybe you could go into the shop and she might have pies for like a silver piece.
Yeah, they're probably not as good.
I wouldn't mind checking out the shop.
The-
Okay.
The
We can do it on the way out. Otherwise, you'll leave this.
Okay.
temporary hit points, can you still get them if you're at max health?
Yes.
They're
Yeah. So they're on top of your 4. So if you're eating the boar pie,
Yeah.
that was Vash's pie, and he rolled 4. So anybody who had a slice of that gets 4. Yeah. If you're rolling sweet pie, you roll it, and they'll stack.
3.
Okay. So there's anybody who has some sweet pie gets 3. Okay. So there's 8 slices of pie in a pie. So you might want to, then you've got some spares, some rations, like.
So who's
Okay.
that? So one person?
Yeah, that's a sweet.
No.
I'll take some sweet.
So it's 5.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely. If there's nothing else I can do for you, it's getting a bit dark. I'm going to be heading back to the workplace, see my daughters. I've been out late tonight. If you're ever passing, you'll probably see me on the road between here and Vlacky.
I'll definitely be getting another one of these pies. They're delicious.
Oh, everybody loves my pies. Yeah, they're very popular.
This reminded me of the chicken from Chicken Run. That right?
All I can think of, so she must come from Wigan or something.
She absolutely comes from Wigan. She absolutely comes from Wigan. You knew that.
Yeah.
You knew I'd come from Wigan, didn't you? With my pies. Yeah, that's why I call it, because I'm upmarket. That's why I call it dream pastries. Yeah, rather than pies, pastries. Sounds more upmarket. Sell them for a bit more.
Because I guess you were from Wigan, I have a free one.
She goes, "Mm," and she like,
It didn't pop your
she
eye.
has a look, and she gets like the sort of crumbs from the bottom, and she scoops them all. She scoops all the crumbs from the bottom of the wagon, and she puts them in like a bit like pork scratchings. She scrapes all the crumbs off all the pies, and she like tears it back. She hands it over, and she goes, "Just for you. Yeah, don't you be stealing from me again, though. All right. Yeah, I'll be watching you."
So, shall we go to the inn?
Okay. All right.
As soon as I walk through the door of the tavern,
Mhm.
I'd like to go to the canner.
Mhm.
Of 4 ales, please.
Okay. So,
Is that just for you? Or you should?
Yep. And then I will sit down and drink.
okay. So I'll move you in a second. So you all head up into the inn, and I'll just. Okay. Here we go.
You got the deer head on the wall. We went there with my kids and I told them that the rest of the deer was behind it. And they went around looking for it.
What? That's so mean.
I love that.
They're little, you can take them.
Okay. There you go.
Better.
So you
Even better.
you find with Auntie Morgan pointing, this is not a big town. You find this. Yeah, they're called Barovian Commoner 1, 2, and 3. In fact, you recognise this particular one. He's sitting there eating a pie, and you recognise him as the Barovian Commoner who was buying a pie that he was supposedly taking home for his sort of engagement dinner. With his girlfriend, whereas actually he's in with what looks like his twin brother, and they're devouring this pie.
My girlfriend has crap.
Yeah, so
girlfriend's just not traditionally attractive.
you get the kind of impression that he may have been trying very hard to get a discount on the pie, by giving her a bit of a sob story. Anyway, she didn't fall for it, and he's eating his pie. So. You go. So this is Arik. She told you that the barman keeps a fire lit, and Arik the barman. So as you walk in, there's Vasily. He's called Vasily Etherdwick, because you heard her talking to him. Vasily chatting to some bloke, and they're devouring a pie that smells like the meat one you just ate. There's 3 women sat at a table. There's this man polishing glasses behind the bar, and over the far side by the fire at the north of the sort of the tavern, there's a sort of well-dressed gentleman sat on his own, nursing a glass on his own at the table. So you're going to the bar?
Yeah, I'm going to the bar and getting 4 ales myself.
Okay.
Then what do you-
Okay, so you go up to the bar and you ask for ales, and Arik looks up and he's like, "We ain't got no ale.
What do you have?
Wine."
Wine, and more wine.
Is that all?
Do you want anything else?
Do you have anything else?
No.
Alright, then I'll have a bottle of wine.
Okay.
What sort of wine do you have?
Got purple grape mash, number 3.
I've already got one.
You recognise that as all the wine that you collected.
This is the only alcohol in the place.
And he looks at you and he's like, "People have stopped asking for anything else. We used to sell an ale, but you try growing hops and barley in a place with virtually no sun. It's
Grapes, do you find that?
well, Wizard of Wines. They know something the rest of us don't, I guess. And he goes back to polishing glasses. Do you want any or not?
No, I'm fine.
I'll have a glass.
But we do need a room.
He looks at you and he goes, I haven't got no rooms.
Do you have any beds? Hovels under the stairs.
No, this is
Not doing
no, this isn't. No, this is an inn. This is like it's a drinking establishment. Everybody who comes here lives in the village. They have their own houses.
Is there anyone anywhere in town who can?
So, are you having this conversation sort of in this bar? So, the guy who's sat sort of looks up from his glass of wine and he goes, come over, have a drink. Come over, sit with me. I might be able to find you somewhere to stay.
And who would you be?
Well, I'm grabbing a glass of wine.
Okay, so you Eric puts a big sort of flagon of red wine and some sort of really well polished, slightly smeary glasses on the bar, and then sort of goes back to polishing the glasses.
It's free.
He doesn't seem fussed.
Oh, I will say to him, you can see in my bag here, I've got 3 bottles of wine that I've brought in with me. I hope that's not going to be a problem.
He shrugs.
Didn't want you to think I was stealing. And then I will pull one out, bite the cork out, eat the cork.
Good old bird. Just eat again.
Half goat.
If I can't get miles of comedy material out of it eating random stuff, what's the point of trying to say?
That's exactly right.
So, so this sort of
There's only 3 chairs at that place.
yeah. So you can pull up a chair, and
Casual stand.
you can pull up a chair, and he's sat by the fire, and this young man is obviously not a Bavarian commoner. Is well dressed. Wearing sort of what looks like leather armour. He's got a sword next to his chair, and he's like, welcome to Barovia. My name's Ismark Kolyanovich. My father, Kolyanovich, he's the mayor, the burgomaster of this town.
Is this a name I'd recognise from my parents' description of Barovia?
Yes. So you would recognise the name. So Kolyan and Kolyanovich. His name or his father's name, or both?
The last name.
Kolyanovich is KOLYANO and then VICH. Kolyanovich.
Well, I'm going to come up with a last name for that.
You can get round to that. Vash the Vash. So he's like, yeah, my father Kolyan, he's the burgomaster. Me and my sister, we live at the big house. It's the burgomaster's house. It's a large property to the south of the village, and my family have been. So yes, you would recognise from your parents' ramblings that all of the towns in Barovia have a sort of mayor, a burgomaster, and that you would recognise that as a sort of family name.
Can I do a quick insight check on this person?
Yes.
I've just come up with a last name for Dash, so.
21.
He's seems absolutely honest, and you get no sort of deceit. So you feel he's the son of the burgomaster, but you also feel that he's really got sort of a heavy weight on his shoulders. He's got something on his mind. He's sort of sitting in the bar.
I'm going to say, it's very kind of you to help out 5 random strangers. Might I ask what's prompting this chat?
Well, so
That's going to get signed by Splance.
so Barovia is a difficult place to live, and seeing new faces brings a small amount of joy and hope in an otherwise difficult time.
I'm going to insight check that as well.
Yep.
Vash will lean in and go, actually, my family's from here.
From Barovia.
We managed to leave at some point. But my parents have asked me to come back to attend to some family business.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with the Derevko family?
From Velaki, yes. We have known of them for many generations. And he looks interested and how did you manage to get out? Nobody has left Barovia for centuries, as far as I can tell.
I'm sorry? What was that?
And he looks at you and goes, Nobody can leave. That's the problem. That's why everybody is so fucking depressed all the time. Did you see them? Have you seen the mists?
I arrived by an unconventional means myself.
Oh.
I travel by tree when possible.
Interesting.
But from what I heard, there were some gates.
The mist? And he sort of looks around at the mists.
I know of the mists, yes.
Can one not simply walk through the mists?
Unfortunately, no, there's a trick.
You knew this.
Yes.
You didn't feel this was helpful to share several hours ago when you got here and didn't know where we were.
I did
would
tell
sort of
you
be
I
taking
was
a mental
from-
note that he's been hiding.
Yes, but that's generally
Information.
pretty important information. It's like if I hand you a box and say, "Oh, it's got something in it," and the thing inside of it's a bomb.
Oh, Lancelot! And while you two are rowing,
But I'm not going to be sharing it in public.
while you two are rowing about whether or not the mists were important to discuss, Ismark looks down and there's this dog runs round the other side. He's decided he doesn't like you particularly, Queenie, and runs up to him and he's like, Lancelot, where did you find? Have you found Lancelot?
The Durst House.
The Durst House?
We stumbled onto what we thought was a manor house, but turned out to be more of a ruin.
Nobody's gone in the Durst House for
A long
as
time
long
ago.
as I can remember.
There was some ghosts.
There was some
Ghosts
interesting
like that.
happenings, yes. Evil stuff.
Evil stuff.
We cleansed it.
Did
There was a few undeads.
Mutant
And-
babies.
Power of light cleansed it.
Some ghostly children.
Some burns.
and he
Centipedes, I remember centipedes.
And rats.
and you
No,
went
that was just-
you went into the Durst House
Well,
Yes.
we believed there was danger. The children contacted us.
and you came out
Yes.
of the Durst House.
Not
How
for
do
lack
you
of many forces trying.
Oh,
But yes, we made it.
Yes.
And he sits back and he's like, interesting. Maybe you could help.
What
And
exactly
it's-
do you need help with?
From your insight, in terms of you perceive that whatever this big weight, suddenly it's like he can see a solution. He can see a light at the end of the tunnel that appears to have just walked in via the Durst House. You could help. I have a problem.
What is this problem?
Are we safe to talk here?
He looks around and he's like, the silly's eating pie. He'll be fine.
You'll forgive my paranoia. A very tall, unpleasant stranger dropped in on us earlier. Carried off one of our friends in the form of a
And
giant
Vash
bat.
will look him dead in the eye, unnervingly in the eye. It was Strahd.
And therein lies the root of the problem I'm having.
Strahd? He's the root of a few problems.
It's less around Strahd himself. I mean, clearly, I would not in any way be asking a group of people, however well you went in and came out of the Dust House, to take Strahd. Oh no, that would be lunacy. Strahd has shown an interest in my sister.
Oh dear.
And like a flash of recognition will go straight over Bash's face because he knows what Strahd is.
My sister, Ireena.
We need
And-
to get your sister away.
And he's like, yes,
Your sister needs to be here very quickly.
yes, but I cannot take her. I can't take her because I must stay here. I am I am to be the burgomaster. These people have very little. I must do what I can to protect
she
my
need to
village. Somewhere safe. Somewhere.
Is there somewhere safe in Barovia?
Is there a church?
There are several churches. I mean,
Church. Is there a church twice?
Is there a grove?
is there a grove?
Is there a section of forest that's not so twisted?
And he sort of steeples his hands and goes, much of Barovia is twisted. There are churches of light. There is a church in town here. Father Danovich is our local priest at our church, which is the Church of the Morning Lord, and he's our local priest. Very few people stay in Barovia now. The congregations have shrunk, but living under the shadow of the castle is not to very many people's taste. People have moved away. Valaki is safer. They have a great wall and a huge town guard. And rumour says Strahd has not been seen in the vicinity of Valaki for 100 or more years. There is a large church of the Morning Lord there called St Andrel. They have a saint. The Church of St Andrel of the Morning Lord is in Valaki, or even up to the great abbey of Saint Macovia, which you would recognise as being named after where the seat of the Church of the Helder Dawnslayers are in Markovia. And Saint Markovia, there's an abbey there. Maybe she would be safe there. Where maybe
Sounds like a good choice to begin.
you could come to the mansion. We have plenty of rooms. It is getting late, and Ireena is there. You could meet her.
I think that sounds like a marvellous idea.
Your sleep definitely sounds like a marvelous idea.
I would pay you. I would pay you for your trouble. I mean, obviously, I would. Anyway, but where did you find Lancelot?
He was in the house. He was in the Dust House. He appeared to be under some sort of enchantment spell. I'm a druid of the Starline Druids and I'll just gesture vaguely with my hand. I have some skill with animals.
Ah,
I was able to get through it.
oh, it is good to see him. We have not seen him for many months. It's Gertruda's dog. He vanished months ago, but it's good to see him. Mary will be most happy that he has shown up. So, would you? People such as yourself who have managed to survive the Durst House and come to these parts, would you maybe come and meet Ireena, and we can tell you of she can tell you of our troubles.
Of course.
Quick power. Is that what I'm calling this?
Yes.
I'm glad you already volunteers. Never mind.
That's
Yeah, we're in.
Okay.
What sort of payment are we talking about?
Well, it's not a rich house, but if you can get Ireena safely to Valaki, then I can. I know some people there, and there would be 25 gold pieces in it for all of you. And he sort of looks sad. If your friend, if you find him alive, and he were to help, he would also obviously I would pay him too if he survived. Yes. Yes.
It's not bad start. It's 5 times more.
Well, they have.
To Thievey Boy, who's like got a giant sack of gold in his pocket.
Just
Okay.
hold my phone. Coin does. I
Okay.
think we can help your sister.
Shall we? Would you like another drink, or would you like to?
More drinks.
More drinks. And he signals to Arik, who brings over another pitcher of wine. And he gives Arik a couple of silver pieces and goes for the wine. For the wine. When you are ready, I can take you to my house and you'll be able to.
It just reminds.
I've got my own.
Oh no, battery.
Okay. Okay.
I'll finish the bottle.
I'm pretty sure he's
I'll
actually,
partake in the communal wine.
he's actually rather fond of red wine.
Okay. So
I would be too.
so you head out. You finish your drinks. I think it's raining. And you head out. And you go right down to the south of the town. He walks you through the cobble streets, and it's very dark now, and there's not a huge amount of light. And he lights the way, and you get to the sort of gates of what appears to be a huge mansion, and there's an iron fence, and the iron gates look twisted and torn, like they've been broken through. The bars have been bent out of shape, and the right hand side of the gate is sort of, the gate's open, it's sort of lying canted off its hinges, and no, he sort of looks like he's coming home. And he looks... Roll insight.
I certainly would love to.
Yeah, can you?
Hell yeah, 26.
He looks embarrassed. So...
I'm going to try and offer an encouraging. No, you should see my place.
He sort of watery but grateful smile for sort of it's windy. For sort of trying to save his sort of pride, and as you go, there's sort of weeds. There's a clear path where he obviously walks in and out, and as you approach the sort of, you go through the gate and across, you get to the sort of main big wooden front doors of this mansion. And it was clearly beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful stonework. This was clearly once a very impressive and expensive place. But as you look around, certainly with your sort of understanding, you can see paw prints primarily all through the mud near the walls, and claws that have raked these walls, and the wooden door, the big wooden door, is blackened as if it's been set on fire. And there's clearly been several assaults. One of the windows is boarded up from the inside, and there's this mansion's clearly been assaulted. There's planks sort of nailed across the outside of the thing, and he looks at it in a sort of embarrassed sort of as I said, Strahd has taken an interest in Ireena. We have very few quiet nights here anymore.
We've met some of the local wildlife. I can't say I'm surprised you get to such extreme measures.
And so...
That's a coffin. Sorry.
That's definitely a coffin.
This is my
very
dream
decorative
inside of
coffee
27.
table.
So he he walks in and immediately just turn around and locks the door. And then you'll notice on the other side of the door, once he's inside, he puts this huge, great metal bar across. And there's a significant number of precautions given the fact that you've only seen about 3 people in the bar, and they don't look like they could take down a mansion. And you're right. There's a beautiful fire in this big open hallway with a flight of stairs, sort of red marble stairs going up from the going up here, and there's a beautiful fire with a deer with sort of antlers and a big sort of bearskin rug with comfy chairs, and absolutely in the middle of the tapestry floor lies a coffin.
Is he offering any?
That's a very strange place.
And he's sort of he's not made any mention of the coffin. He's like, Ireena, we have guests, Ireena. And from the other room comes a beautiful, absolutely lovely woman. And Vash, as this woman walks in, she is the absolute spitting image of your mother. You recognise younger and human rather than elven, but otherwise absolutely identical.
That is. What was that? What said you can eat a pista?
Ireena, we have guests. Ireena, we have guests.
You need some more God in your life.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
That should be just dumbfounded. They'll just stand there, mouth slightly agape.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'd have lit more lamps. I mean, Ismark, you must stop surprising me with guests, especially late in the evening. Welcome. And she immediately is like, I am so sorry for the coffin in the middle of the hall. It's not usually how we would greet guests. My father, Kolyan, he died. My brother Ismark and I are trying to arrange for him to be buried at the church with Father Donovich, but it's been challenging getting out recently. So he's still here. But I'm sorry, we don't normally greet guests with an open coffin.
That's fine. What was your father's name?
Kolyan.
Oh.
Kolyan. So like Kolyanovich. Kolyan.
Have you been blessing and praying over the coffin each night?
And she looks at you and goes, "You all right?"
Yeah.
And she looks at you and goes, "In the name of the morning, Lord, absolutely, of course."
Yeah, I was
Give it an extra juice.
Mum was doing some rituals in the middle of the night tonight.
This is going to be an
I'd be
odd
happy
question. But are you familiar with Ileana Director?
She goes, I've heard that as a family name, mainly from history. They were an old family in Vallaki. I'm not sure there are any of that name in Vallaki anymore. And no, I'm sorry.
You look startlingly like her.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. She just looks.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm being rude. She's my mother.
She smiles and goes, "Oh, I know I've been quite stressed recently. I didn't realise I look so old. I'm so sorry."
No, my mother does. My mother's elven. She doesn't. Show
Oh, I'm not elven. I'm not elven.
I'm well aware you're human, but you do have a striking resemblance.
Well, okay. She just looks slightly.
Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same way you are. Believe me.
she's like,
It's just as odd for me as it is for you.
and she sort of, okay, and then she's like, Ismark, what? And she's like, drags her brother off, so excuse me, just 1 second, just need to have a quick word with him, and you can hear sort of whispered, heated words along the lines of, you could have at least come and told me you were bringing guests back. Who are all these people? We've not buried our father. The house is a tip. This is ridiculous.
While they're doing that, Bashal literally turned to the rest of her. She looks exactly like my mother. She's a human.
So
She's really odd.
she comes back in, and Ismark returns looking sort of appropriately chastened, and shit, I've upset my sister, and she's like, and she turns to you and goes, Father, would you be able to say some prayers? Would you be able to say some prayers for my father? That would we would have wanted him buried a couple of days ago, but we've not been able to get his coffin to the church. We've had some challenges, as I'm sure Ismark has been telling you, sharing our family business with complete strangers, as he does. Yes. Okay.
In some faiths, people keep the body inside the house to take care of it and watch over it so that it safely transitions into the next room. So
That is very assuring.
happy to do some prayers. and
Just
help
from
them.
where I'm standing,
Yes.
can I see their father's neck?
His neck.
His neck.
If you, the coffin's still sort of half open. It's like an
I'm not
open
gonna
casket.
walk over, like,
Okay.
catwalk, but, like,
So
just-
subtly.
just
So
like-
well.
Oh, we
We caught him. I have no idea why we're. It's all right. A complicated apple trap in the roof with a possum. We've caught the possum.
Nice.
Pretty tough enough.
We've walled the possum into the sea. John Scotty, you can go and have a look. He's putting it outside. We've caught the possum in the possum trap.
It's just gonna come straight
He's at the
back
front.
in.
Go and have a look.
Just
I'll go
come
for a
straight
farm.
back in.
That's such a bloody 10-year-old thing to do. It's like, I'm just going to go and look at this possum. So, you can wander over and sit in the chair as you wander past. There appears to be an elderly, human male.
I'm specifically looking for 2 puncture marks.
No,
No.
no.
I will go around and pour everyone a glass of wine. This is
Okay. So, we've got a possum. It's moving around the house. It moved into the roof. We walled in the roof.
I'm
And it got trapped in there, so we
I'm a
caught the
follower
possum.
of Diana.
How did he catch it?
So
Possum
my
trap.
religion makes
There's such a thing.
Hmm?
He's a game man. I wouldn't touch
We
one.
can do some.
We had one outside my daughter's bedroom the other night. Like,
They're vicious.
oh, not outside, it was next door, but like.
Chocolate.
Ceremony?
Yeah,
Have a
chocolate.
Okay.
Oh,
He came and slept in our bed because of the noise it was making.
Yeah, they wake Marty up.
Preserves the
Something
body.
R, I think.
It preserves the body. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, it is gentle repose.
Gentle repose.
That's it. Just-
Says the cleric.
Good name for it.
Says the cleric that does not do the gentle reposing.
I don't have it. But
What
that's-
was-
Suck your soul.
That's the spell I was thinking.
Yeah,
of.
gentle repose.
So-
Anyway, so this appears to be a dead man. She watches you and goes, Strahd was not interested in my father. And
No, I
sort
think
of smiles.
He's rather interested in you.
He has been visiting. He has decided, and she's like, he has decided that we are to marry, and
You don't sound overjoyed by this.
I have been happier about other things. It has to be said. It's turning into not the best week, obviously. Thank you very much. And she drinks a huge slug, and she appears to be entirely immune to the effect of the purple grape mash. So
Her glass for the bowl.
thank you. And she's clearly pretty hard on drinker, but looks nice.
Understandable.
Respect.
And she's like, he's been sending his minions to visit wolves and sometimes werewolves and
At the mention of werewolves, Vashel
and
right
vampire spawn, and sometimes undead from the graveyard. He will send them, and they claw at the windows every now and again. One manages to get in, and we've had virtually no sleep, and it is driven my father. He was so worried for my safety, and he stayed up and he didn't sleep for nights at a time. And I think, and Strutt's responsible for his death as surely as if he'd have killed him with a knife. And she's clearly really upset about this.
Try and console himself. It's alright,
She just necks some more wine.
Drink deeply if you want. Try and console yourself. We will keep you safe.
I'm
Strahd.
slowly pouring out. all my
Strahd has a tendency to destroy families, I know from experience.
She nods in a sort of, it's good that you understand, even though you appear to be new. Lancelot! Where did you find Lancelot?
You won't believe this, but the Durst house.
And she's like,
He got himself stuck and involved in some foul.
oh, Mary will be happy, I think. And so she's like, oh, good. Poor Mary, she'll be happy. And she's like, and she goes over and she gives Lancelot a bit of a pet, and she disappears off and brings him back some meat and some water, and he eats that and curls up in front of the fire. She's like, oh, good. And so I suppose my brother has told you that he wants me to leave Barovia.
Yes, he's mentioned.
I am no coward.
Of course not. But surely you're no fool.
I am not leaving Barovia village, as opposed to Barovia, the country where obviously we are destined to stay, until my father is appropriately buried and laid to rest.
Oh, but
As a practicing druid of the Starlines, I could lay him to rest in the ground outside if you like. The traditional compost burial.
She looks and she goes,
I mean entirely sincere.
werewolves, undead zombies, vampire spawn. They would dig up my father, and Strahd would send him against this house. I cannot leave this house until he is in consecrated ground.
Burial.
You would understand, don't you?
Yes, and I'll make sure that happens.
it's definitely hard to raise a corpse through necromancy if they're consecrated earth.
We have a crypt a family crypt in the local church. He would want to be there with my mother and his father and his grandfather, and
Well, I was planning on heading to the church tomorrow anyway, so I'm happy to escort your father to the church and make sure he is buried properly.
it is best if we in the line of the morning lord, we should go early morning to the church so that he can be buried with the light of, as it is in Barovia, in the morning. That would be traditional, and if you would help with that, then once he is safely consecrated and protected, I would consider leaving here and leaving my brother to look after Barovia as the new burgomaster, and relieving him of the burden of looking after me and protecting me. If you would be so kind as to escort me.
Very well.
Then I should find you rooms for the night. Have you eaten?
Oh, we've eaten.
We have it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Although
Kid,
I wouldn't mind if there was a steak available, a little on the rare side.
She looks at you.
Should have spoken up when we had that dead wolf.
I'm not fond of wolves.
She looks at you slightly nervously and goes, "We have no servants anymore. Being attacked every night has frightened most of them away."
Mary is, in that instance.
Who's Mary?
Yes.
Oh, Mary. She lives in the village. She's
Oh.
one of the local. the local ladies.
Look, if you have such a piece of meat lying around, I'm happy to cook it myself.
Oh, and she sort of points you to the kitchen. It's just through there, and you can see the dining table, through the big doors where she's standing, and she points to the sort of south end of that room. So if you want to go down there, there's like a sort of cold room, which has got lots of assorted provisions. So you can head down there. There you go.
I'm gonna go up there and try to bring you two along as well.
Well, what I would do is find the bloodiest piece of meat humanly possible.
Yep.
I think we should
without the little one watching me do it, I'm squeezing all of the blood
Uh-huh.
into a container.
Uh-huh.
And
He's watching. Hehe's totally watching. He's like...
I saw it all.
But I will,
Sorry.
I will cook the meat.
Yep.
And I'll probably share it with him and probably the
I
dog.
just want a piece of bread and some fruit.
Okay, there's bread and
I'll purposely
and some...
avoid
There's
purposely avoid the goat.
there's like a basket of apples and things.
I will keep the container and
Roll perception. And if you're trying to do that without him noticing, roll sleight of hand.
Oh.
Squeezing blood out of a steak is some new bizarre cooking method. Yep. I'm ignoring the idea.
18 slot hand.
Against
What am I rolling?
perception.
Oh, okay.
I love having high decks.
What?
With Dren, I love having high strength, but this character I have high.
30, 20?
Oh, you noticed.
So you noticed that he's preparing a steak in a way that you've never seen before. So he appears to have squeezed all the blood out of the steak into a container and then cooked the steak.
Can I do an insight check to work out what Varsha's deal is?
Yeah.
Given the stuff we've seen, my goal is if you guys are going off and trying to get everyone away from anyone else, a quick slice of chat.
Okay, so you and Malachi and Harleen. Yeah, that's fine. So, Ireena's like, Ismark, come with me. Seeing as you have brought us guests, you can help me make some beds, can't you? And she disappears upstairs.
I think we should keep a watch during the night. At any given time, one or of us should be awake. Patrolling the house. Or if there is, keeping tabs on what's going on. Both
Well, I was
from the
hoping to
outside-
get up in the middle of the night to ensure again. So if someone wants to go
And
first,
do you need
wake
us
me
to
up.
sort out a watch order, or are you happy for us to just say that we sort out a watch order?
Yep, happy.
Lovely.
Okay, so 5-10 minutes goes. Vash wanders back with the steak. Ethelwe's chewing on an apple. And
I've got the last of the steak on a fork, and I'm eating it as I come into work.
I'll grab any fruit I have there as well. Think about this.
and you hear Ismark come down the stairs, and there's banging at the front door.
Does that count as a short rest?
No.
Perhaps a glorious sword just stand there.
And Ismark looks visibly, he goes pale, and you can hear Ireena, who's gone upstairs, she's making beds, shout downstairs, "Oh, who is it? Oh, what, not tonight?" And there's banging on the door, it's insistent banging, and you can hear Ismark yell out, "Who's there?" and what sounds like a female voice on the other side of the door, and he goes over and unbolts the doors and opens the doors, and this woman comes rushing in, and
While this is all happening, I'm going to go hide in a corner, unnoticed.
okay, there you go. And this woman comes rushing in, and she's in her probably 60s, and she rushes in, and as she rushes in, Ismark sort of cracks open the door, and she sort of pushes away and rushes in. He looks visibly relieved. Absolutely. He's like, oh, Mary, what are you doing here at this time of night?
Seeing his way, Fashel runs the blade up the back of his arm, so it's not visible, but it's still drawn.
And you can hear Ireena going, Mary, what? Yeah. And then she looks up and she goes, Lancelot, where you? And then she turns back to Ismark and goes, you've got to find her. Why haven't you found her? And she looks down and she goes, he was no use. And she's sort of gesturing at the coffin. And why haven't you found her? Why are you not looking? Why haven't you found her? And she turns around and she's like, Gertruda, my daughter, she's gone. She went out and she's gone. And I thought where did you find Lancelot?
He was in the Durst residence.
And she just looks grief-stricken and horror-struck and goes, but he's okay.
He's okay. He was placed under some sort of spell.
And she looks back to Ismark and goes, why aren't you finding Gertruda? Why aren't you finding her? Why aren't you finding... And he's like, take, it's okay, Mary, take Lancelot. And you know, we are, me and these people, we're going to bury my father tomorrow. And tomorrow I am the burgomaster and I will come and then I will look for Gertruda. We will find her, Mary, we will find her. And he's kindly and like he's done this before. He's like, we've given Lancelot, take him home, and I will come tomorrow after we have buried father, and we will find Gertruda. And she's like, you'll find her, you will, won't you? You'll find her. And he's like, yeah. And he lets her out and sighs and bolts the door and closes all the door up behind her. And Ireena shouts down and goes, that poor woman, and disappears off and is clearly making some beds.
How long has Gertruda been missing?
And Ismark sighs and goes, oh, well, you know, she went away. She went away for a number of years and then she came back. Mary was devastated. She left home and came back, and then, you know, she was here for a year or so, and Mary was the happiest I've seen her. And then one day she got up and she left and she's not come back. I'd worry. She's a simple soul, Gertruda. Nice girl, but not the brightest. I'd be, you know, if she's gone off on her own, you know, I wouldn't hold out a great deal of hope for her. Mary's been distraught for days, poor woman. I'll go see her tomorrow and look after her. Don't worry about it. I mean, that's the job of the burgomaster. No, I will look after her. You know, it's a sad story, but nothing to be done, I think. And you know, you hear Ireena upstairs going, oh, you know, you mustn't venture out as a, you know, unarmed person in there to do, you know, even the wildlife around here will take out an average young woman, you know.
Even walking around armed is the better way to say.
And she smiles. You hear her laugh and go, "Yeah, absolutely." And she comes back down the stairs and goes, "Whenever you're ready, there are rooms upstairs for you. If you would like to sleep upstairs, that is fine. I've made up rooms."
If you'd all like to do the rest first, I'll stay for a little while.
Are you sure? I'll take the second watch.
Okay. So if you're taking the first watch, so I'll leave you where you are. Everybody goes upstairs. There's comfortable rooms, so I won't move everybody, but you can have a look.
With the container sitting closer to the fire than me.
Let me just put.
Warming up.
So I just put. I'll just put Harleen up here so she can have a look around. So if you go up here, there's a sort of an iron bath. There's a long corridor, and there's some beds, all of which have been made. There's 4 big bedrooms. There's a kind of a sitting room, lounge type thing. There's a bathroom. There's a big jug of cold water and a privy going to the outside. If you're having a look around, there's not much up here. It looks pretty sparse. It looks like most of these rooms aren't gone in very often, but they're comfortable, and all the windows are boarded up. Other than that, it's pretty comfortable. Perception check on the first watch.
That's a 16.
Okay. You can hear howling, and in the distance, and you're walking around, particularly on the ground floor, but you can't hear anything at the.
And every time I'm fairly certain I'm alone.
Everybody's asleep, and there's nothing that you hear, nothing that's worrying at all. Queenie, second watch.
Can I use one of my wild checks? Like, will I get a short rest before and after my watch at all?
Yep.
Cool. In that case, I'll turn into some creature that has keen senses.
Uh-huh.
That is a perception.
Okay.
So that was a question. So it's perception.
Yes.
Cool. That is.
What would you like to be?
I'd like. I'll go with direwolf just because they're keen hearing and smell.
Okay.
That is a 25.
Okay. So with a 25 as a direwolf, you can smell wolf everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like for you being in a wolf den. They are everywhere, and you can hear them around the outside of the house. They don't appear to be. You can hear them howling. You can hear them breathing. You can hear them padding around the outside of the house, like they're almost like they're patrolling. But you don't hear anything that would sound like an attack.
The other thing I want to do while I'm on patrol.
Yeah.
I want to try and work out if there's anyone else in the house with us.
Yep. With that as there is nobody else in the house other than the two live people, the body, and some sort of animal skins. Yeah. There's no other people in this house.
Yeah. Is it a full moon tonight?
No.
Could we tell if the dude and his sister are homeless?
Yeah, when you say it smells like a wolf den,
No, it smells like a wolf's den as in... No, it smells like you're surrounded, like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
If you were sort of like sniffing the chairs that they'd sat in and things like that, no, it smells human.
Cool.
Okay. You get no bad vibes in that sense of werewolfness or...
Lovely.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're having to sleep on the edge.
Yeah,
So you're... Okay, so third watch.
I'll take them.
Okay.
17.
Okay, so again, 17, you have a wander around the house, a bit of a tinkle on the piano, you have a good look around. This house has clearly been attacked a lot. There's sort of bits of shards of broken glass still embedded in the floor where these windows have clearly been smashed through, but nothing happening that you can discern at all. Your watch passes uneventfully. And last watch? Okay.
I'll do the last watch if I want to do.
Oh, you want to do morning prayers? Okay.
And then
Yep.
before dawn, I'm going to take the morning.
Okay.
Little
So,
blaze
perception?
seeds. Growing blaze
Yep,
seeds. They're
perception.
That would be a...
Okay. So you don't hear anything coming to attack the house, and you also don't perceive anything untoward about the body, because I guess that's where you'd be spending most of your watch. So you don't perceive any undeath, unrestfulness, other than there's a dead body in.
Holy symbol being
Oh yeah, there's no burning. You don't get any bad vibes. It's not.
Censoring.
It doesn't. There's no catching on fire. You're doing all the good things, and it's not reacting badly to them. Okay, and then sort of morning comes, and you can't really tell that it's changed at all. Likewise, outside, because it's no lighter.
We get a long rest.
You do get a long rest.
So that refresh all that
That
stuff.
was
That refreshes the paper.
You just put it back on. You work for 24 hours, yes? 10 HP.
Yes,
Oh yes, we've got that.
yes.
So it'd still be dark, right? Because we got to take the body.
So it's you don't know.
Less dark, but it's still dark.
Yes. So you don't
The daytime darkness.
you don't know that it's daytime because all the windows are boarded up. So it's exactly the same inside the house as it was outside. But you wake up and Ireena and Ismark come downstairs, and they were like, if it would be all right with you all, maybe a quick breakfast, and then we can take Father to his resting place at the church, if that's not too much trouble, obviously. Okay. Yep. So you. She disappears off into the kitchen, Ireena and Ismark, and they come back with some bread and some cheese, which is interesting, and some apples and things like that. And sort of, again, quite embarrassed at the sort of meager fare. And she's like, when you are ready, maybe we could go to the church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm ready. We might need an extra person coming with. Like, you guys don't want to come to the church, but like, I'll probably need one extra person.
Okay. So you head out with who's carrying the coffin?
I'll carry.
I'll help.
So this is a standard coffin of a decent adult human male. So
Yeah.
it's likely to be at least 4 of you, probably not a 10-year-old.
I don't have great strength, but I'll help out.
My strength isn't amazing, but I can help.
You could carry a coffin with pretty normal strength. So Ismark is absolutely happy to help carry the coffin.
Yeah, I'll be a pallbearer.
Okay. So everybody's heading to the church, and can you roll an athletics check? So you are a satyr, a fighter.
14.
Ismark are all sort of wandering along, carrying this coffin down this muddy street in the sort of early morning light.
I'm kind of scattered. 12.
Okay.
What are we rolling, sorry?
Athletics, just in terms of not dropping poor Kolyan in the street.
4.
So as you're carrying, go on. What's everybody else roll?
14.
Oh Jesus!
I can walk long distances.
Can I also ask if we can finish at 10?
Pardon?
Can we finish
Yes. So as you head in a very slippery, slidey, this coffin nearly hits the ground several times. As you go up the hill,
Not something we should have got a cart.
you can see in the atop a rise a church. Let's call it the church. It's not that. Hold on.
Quickly, everyone, look at the signals.
No, it's all right. It's thinking very slowly. It's just not activated. That's fine. That's fine. Come out.
Yeah.
So
Good wild shape into that.
sorry, it's just done that thing where it just goes ridiculously slow for a minute. So against the
confident.
There's a grey. Might have to reload this in a second. There's a grey sort of edifice of sort of stone and there we go. Let me just refresh it.
Right before Vash steps into the church,
Yeah.
he'll do the old toe tap to tap the dirt, the mud off his boots. But as he's doing it, he'll use prestidigitation to clean his boots off completely so it's not tracing the mud into the church.
Let me just. Okay, so let me just refresh this because it's.
And while inside the church, Vash will occasionally scratch in random places.
Okay. So there's this obviously really weathered old sort of building. So that's mine, but never mind. There we go. There you go. There you go. That'll do. Okay, and
Very beautiful church.
yeah. So
It wasn't one.
there's a bell tower at the back. The church has obviously just been wrecked, and it's just crumbling ruin. And these heavy wooden doors are sort of again covered with claw marks and scarred wood, and it's just really falling to pieces. And as you open the door, there's a sort of 10-foot wide, 20-foot long hall going down to this sort of brightly lit chapel. And the hall itself is sort of unlit and smells of horrible mildew. And there's 2 doors on either side. And you can hear a soft voice in the distance, which is Father Donovich reciting a prayer. And suddenly that prayer is blotted out by this awful, inhuman scream that seems to be coming up from under the floor, going, "I'm starving!" And Ismark's like, and he put the coffin down in the hallway, and Ismark makes his way straight forward into the chapel, completely ignoring the screaming as if it's just not happening at all. It seems to be coming up through the floor.
Can I do some sort of a check to determine if that sounds like a beast or a human? Like, sorry, not human, like a beast or a not animal?
It does, yeah, you could roll. Yeah. Survival's fine, yep.
12?
You don't recognise it as any kind of a natural beast.
Cool.
Okay. To be fair, you wouldn't immediately think human either, but you don't recognise it as a natural beast. Okay. And you know, as you look into this chamber, it's a complete shambles. There's overturned pews and everything's broken and the floor's dusty and there's candles and candelabras and everything's like full of light. There's everything's lit everywhere, and at the far end of the church is an altar, and upon that lays a sort of branch with bells upon it, and behind that there's a priest, and he's wearing the vestments of the Church of the Morning Lord, the Dawn Slayers, Herald of Dawn Slayers, but the robes are really filthy dirty. It looks like he's not changed them, that he's been kneeling in this mud for an indefinite period of time. And next to him is the rope that goes all the way up to the bell tower, and there's a single bell at the top of that. And as you Morning Lord, Watcher of the Dawn, Lord of Life, grant me your beacon of holy sun, turn these wretched abominations from your light, demon of darkness, name of the Morning Lord, I command you to leave this place. And he's reciting this over and over. He doesn't look up as Ismark walks towards him. He's just kneeling on the floor at the altar. Morning Lord, Watcher of the Dawn, Lord of Life, grant me your beacon of the holy sun, turn these wretched abominations from your light, demon of the darkness. No, Morning Lord, I command you to leave this place. Morning Lord, Watcher of the Dawn, Lord of Life. And he just takes no mind of you, just carries on praying. But
as we approach Vash, he's not going to draw his sword, but he's going to make sure it's clear
Mhm.
in the scabbard.
Morning Lord
I'm
Watcher of the Dawn.
very wary what's going on.
And again, from underneath the floor, Father, I'm starving.
Yeah.
Morning, Lord Watcher, the Dawn Lord of Life, grant me your beacon of the Holy Sun, and turn these wretched abominations from your light, dim and darks. And Ismark walks up to him, and this appears to be not particularly surprising to him. And he kneels next to the priest and starts to whisper something that you can't hear. And eventually those prayers sort of subside, and this old man gets shakily to his feet and looks at you with these sort of staring, slightly wild, bloodshot eyes, and sort of waves this stick with the bells on at you. Roll a religion check, Malachi.
19.
You don't recognise this stick as anything to do with the Church of the Morning Lord. So it's nothing that you would recognise, but he seems really twitched about you.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's sort of waving his head. Yes.
Can I do some sort of a check? If it's a stick, if it's vaguely natural,
Yeah, you can roll nature.
Nature?
Mhm.
Love nature checks.
Not only will Bash not react, he will look
No, I
kind
don't.
of bored.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, nat 20.
If anybody looks at Bash's reaction, he's experienced this before.
Okay. So you recognise that this is it's like a branch from a very old oak tree, and you would immediately recognise that this has some kind of magical properties, that this is not just that he's using it for some purpose. Arcana?
Arcana? I can do Arcana. Well, I can roll it. Hell yeah, 18.
Okay, you know what?
Plus 0.
So you know what this is. You've come across this. You have come across this on your travels in the Feywild, and this is a bell branch. And so this is an oak branch that's sort of strung with golden bells, and you can use it to detect aberrations, fey, fiend, undead, celestial, so detect evil. And you can also, the ones that you've come across, can do protect from evil. Okay. So he's waved that at you. Okay. And
And okay, for role playing perspective, this is Bash is still with his hand on the hilt of his sword. He's like this.
Can I, to try to save what I'm assuming is going to be some drama, the Druid Craft cantrip, I can use that to create a harmless sensory sound. Can I create, given my relatively intimate knowledge of this thing, can I make it replicate the effects of we're all good friends here and all human? Like, you know, if the bells ring a certain way to indicate that or something like that? Would that be something I'd be able to do?
not now. So he's already detected undead.
Cool.
So he's freaked out, but he appears to be using this. This is not something Church of Light, so you wouldn't recognise what this is. You would recognise that he's detecting evil effectively, and you would also recognise that he appears to have detected some.
Okay.
If that helps with your trying to figure out what Bash's deal is.
Stop looking so bored. Is there a problem? Probably.
Morning, Lord Watcher of the Dawn, Lord of Life, grant me your beacon of hope, please, son, and turn these wretched abominations from your light. Demon of the darkness, in the name of the Morning Lord, I command you to leave this place. And he's walking.
And Bash will actually take 3 steps back.
And he's just walking.
With his hands up.
He doesn't seem to take any notice of you. He's walking with Ismark, and Ismark's just talking to him. And he's walking to Ismark, and Ismark's like gesturing at the coffin, and he's sort of walking with Father Donovich towards out at the back of the church, towards the crypt, which is behind the church.
What's going on here? I'm concerned that there's something downstairs
father's keeping.
Oh, well, that's obvious. But
What's he going to share his stick at? He thinks
what
you're.
are these things?
That's called a hell. Exactly. You generally use them in detection of monsters. That is the end of the talk.
We're going to have to be a little bit more
Ah, love it.
specific. And then you seem to be far in which one might be unique.
Relations, feelings, one's dead.
Doesn't matter, fair play. And this is actually reacting to what
And so, as you walk out, you hoik up the hoik being the technical term for lifting a coffin for somebody that doesn't really mean any hoik. As you hoik up the coffin, you go through a gate. There's a fence enclosing a plot of land behind this dilapidated sort of church, and there's gravestones with fog
scratching a little bit.
and souls. There's fog rolling around the bottom of these graves. Everything, the graveyard's overgrown and it's damp underfoot. And you go to this large sort of mausoleum, and there's a crest on the big oak doors of an amber ox on a field of green. Ismark leans forward and he opens the doors and leads you down into the mausoleum. And the coffin is laid upon a sort of central bier in the mausoleum, and then he bows very deeply to his father, and everybody moves everybody outside so that Father Donovich can lead the funeral rites under the sky as the sun comes up, as is the tradition in the morning.
As soon as the funeral rites are over, Bash is going to grab. What's his name? Not the father. He's not going to go meet their son.
Ismark.
And he's going to go to be really quiet. What is the old man's problem?
No. And as Ismark sort of going,
And what's downstairs?
and he's like, so Father Donovich is like almost completely on autopilot, and Malachi would recognise the funeral rites of the Church of the Morning Lords of watch each sunrise, for each day is a gift, always aid, strive to aid and foster new hope. May the Morning Lord pass his blessing. Too long have we endured the hardships. Let us celebrate the life of... And he stops, dead. And he's looking, Father Donovich is looking, his voice sort of caught in his throat, staring at a spot far past you in the distance, just full of horror.
Okay, I've got devil sled out to 120 feet from my seat.
Yeah. So as you follow his line of sight out towards the edges of the church, coming along this is the gate where you went round and in, and pulling along here, you see a shiny black carriage drawn by a huge black warhorse with flaming red eyes, trundling along the cobblestones. No.
If I see it, I can turn into it.
No.
But only if it's a beast.
No, it's beastly. And suddenly he stops the funeral rites and he's like, Sanctus, Sanctus, Dominus Deus Sabaoth, Plenus. And
step towards the
pardon?
I immediately step like walking towards the sister to like protect her.
And so Ireena looks horrified and she's drawn a sword. And Ireena's come to this funeral armed.
Bash will put himself in between Ireena and Strahd.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hide in the shadows. Like directly in front of him. Oh, it's Strahd.
No, but it's one of his minions. It has to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. They look
And so as this carriage draws into the graveyard, you can hear above you this really shrill alien scream. Above you, followed by another and then another. And looking up into the sky, there are these three huge winged beasts circling overhead and circling over the top of this carriage. And the carriage draws to a halt, and this small, as you're watching, this small pudgy creature with a huge humpback is holding the reins, and his left side of his face is covered with like lizard scales, and he's got bat ears, and his left foot that's hanging over the edge of the wheel appears to be webbed like a duck's foot, and he's got sort of furred arms, and his mouth is open with this sort of hideous grin, like he's loving every second of this. And he sort of the carriage is sort of pulled up alongside, and he's just sort of stomping along, and he licks his lips and jumps down, and this beast with these huge leathery wings sort of comes down and stands beside him and folds its wings down its back and makes this noise just standing next to it.
Can I just, like, if it's a beast, I can understand.
Yeah, you don't understand it.
So does that mean I know it's not a beast? Right, I'm going to say these are no creatures of the earth.
Okay. And there's a voice comes, and by the fact Ismark's drawn his sword, and Ireena's drawn her sword, and there's a voice in the carriage. Abacus! Petronius, excellent beast. They can be difficult to control when they're hungry. And as this dumpy man with his duck leg sort of waddles over to the door and opens it, and out of the dark interior you see this sort of leather boot come out of this, followed by sort of two pale hands pulling open themselves out of the door frame. Greetings, and my sincere apologies for being late. Cyrus here is not the most competent of drivers, and you see this very odd sort of Ireena sort of relaxes a little bit, and Ismark relaxes a little bit, and Father Donovich just lets out this huge sigh of relief, and he's got sweat beading down his head, but carries on praying under his breath.
No,
Stop it.
Stop, Dad.
It's like,
I also thought the same thing. I was like,
yeah, it's,
no, I'm innocent.
okay, so it's in the middle of the phrase. I thought you actually stopped it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drops Dad in the middle.
And
Would
this.
I recognise what his deal is?
No, but as he steps out, Ismark shouts, "What business have you got intruding today, Rahidin?" And this, as he says that, this tall, very well-dressed dusk elf steps out with this sort of smug expression on his face, and he looks sort of at the funeral procession, and he goes, And he looks back at these horrendous bat-like creatures, one on either end of the carriage and one's on the roof, and he goes, amazing creatures, don't you think? It's Rahidin, Rahadin. Amazing. I assisted with the design of these ones. It's tricky, it's painful. The results, amazing. Took many Barovians to perfect this process. As you can tell, the Kiakora. The Kiakora. And he looks at you and goes, Druid. Yes, Kiakora. As if you'd be particularly interested in that fact.
Do I have any meaning of the word?
No, not at all. No, you just...
I'm going to look at them for a second and say, bless you.
And he strides forward like he owns us, so he's walking along towards you at the funeral procession, and this little duck-legged sort of creature is like desperately trying to keep his cape out of the mud while sort of sliding around in the mud. And it's almost comical, it's so utterly useless. And as he walks past, you can just hear this horrifying sound of screaming in your ears. Roll a wisdom save. Everyone.
9, 6,
15.
21.
That's 7.
8.
Okay, everybody other than Vash is frightened
Oh, God.
of Rahidin. There's just this awful wave. You managed to...
Sensed it?
Oh, yeah. But you managed to shrug that back, but it's hard.
Vash will stand a little taller and go, that's a nice little trick there.
And he looks at you and smiles and goes, we will see. My Lord Strahd is most looking forward to seeing you after all these years. It is good to have you back, child of Barovia. And he moves his way down to Ismark, and he's like, and Ismark's brandishing his sword, and he's puffed up his chest, and he's ready to defend. And he's like, Ismark, let's not make it 2 funerals today. Donovich here has enough to worry about without burying Kolyanoviches all day. And Ireena sort of pushes her brother out the side and sort of goes in, and as she goes to attack Rahadin with her sword, Ismark falls to the ground screaming and clutching his ears, and Ireena's like, stop please, and she falls down, and Rahadin's just laughing. He's smug and he's happy. What do you want? Why are you here? As she's desperately trying to get Ismark back from the ground, and he goes, my dear Titania, I just have come to bestow upon you our deepest condolences for the loss of your father. Despite his numerous shortcomings, he succeeded in raising a strong and beautiful daughter, and my master is aggrieved at his personal inability to attend today. He has a matter of the utmost importance requiring his current attention. And he looks at you knowingly. And he goes, I have attended in his stead. And Ireena says, well, you can give this to your master. It spits at his feet. And Rahadin's, very well. Despite my honest intentions to pay my respects, I can see this was a waste of time. I did tell him, but he insisted. He cares for you very much, Tatiana. One day you will come to understand that. And he turns to Donovich, who's just mumbling, and then Dominus Sanctus on the floor, and he goes, oh, you are doing him no favours by starving him, Donovich. It would be better to just kill him and be done with it, although I do commend you for sticking so faithfully to your church and your beliefs. I would feel remorse putting somebody through such incredible pain and torture, let alone my own son. And with that, he swings his cloak, and poor Cyrus kind of goes tumbling across the mud and then scuttles back again. And he goes, I will leave you to your funeral. And I believe you have an invitation to dinner. Your friend, the old man, we have nearly done with him. We will leave him near the crossroads. If you wish to pick up what's left of him later, you are welcome to do so. And he sweeps away. And as he sweeps away, the voices die in your head. And as he goes through the gates and returns into the carriage, the sense of being frightened fades away. And Cyrus swings eventually himself back up onto the top of the horse and clicks the reins, and the carriage pulls away into the darkness.
And as soon as we get out of that earshot, Vash will come up under the breath. I'm very much going to enjoy watching that one die.
And that's where we're going to leave it for tonight.
What was the name of those creatures?
Kiakora,
What was the name of that guy?
Rahadin,
We don't know.
I called him a dusk elf.
Dusk, Dark Elf, like Drow,
Like drow, probably less fun.
Drowy.
More.
Don't slip on the steps, I'm telling you in advance.
I'm wearing my good boots. See? I'm wearing my good boots.
Yeah, but we've gone past it. We've gone past.
It's been over a year.
Thank
We've
you
got-
so much.
Has it?
Yes.
Really?
It's over a year since the Dex check day. Yeah.
It's been
Serious?
over a year since the deck check.
Doesn't
Failed
feel
Dex
like
check
it's
day.
over here.
Failed the Dex check. And I am now stuck
I'm
with
not looking forward to starting to